The trading station of HFY orbited a dying orange star, a rusted wheel of steel and glass that had seen 1,000 species pass through its corridors. It was neutral ground, supposedly. No weapons, no violence, no exceptions. That was the law stamped into the station's charter by the Confederacy of Nine Worlds. Mia had believed that law until the moment Threx Khaldun grabbed her wrist hard enough to bruise. She was a junior logistics officer for the Human Trade Delegation, 26 years old, 5 months into her first deep space posting. She had been cataloging shipping containers in Bay 7 when the Skarn mercenary cornered her between 2 stacked crates. He was easily 2.5 meters tall, plated in chitinous gray armor, mandibles clicking with something that might have been amusement. "Small thing," he rasped in broken trade common. "Soft thing. No one comes to Bay 7 this hour. Let go of me." Mia kept her voice level, though her heart was slamming against her ribs. She'd read the briefings. Skarn predators respected only strength. Fear was an invitation, not a deterrent. "You will not fight," Threx said, almost gently, the way one might address a cornered animal. His free hand came up toward her face. "Humans are weak. Everyone knows this." That was, as it happened, the last mistake Threx Khaldun would make that day. John Reyes had been walking the perimeter of Bay 7, doing nothing more heroic than looking for a vending unit that sold something resembling coffee. He was station security, human security, a small 4-person detachment the Confederacy allowed each species to keep for cultural comfort, which everyone understood to mean humans didn't trust anyone else to watch their own people. He was 34, built like a man who'd spent a decade doing manual station labor before switching careers, and he was not, by any human standard, exceptional. Average height, average build, the kind of man who blended into a crowd. He heard the voice before he saw them, Mia's voice, tight and controlled, but with an edge underneath that he recognized instantly. Fear leashed. John didn't run. Running announced things. He walked fast, rounded the stack of shipping containers, and found a Skarn mercenary with one taloned hand wrapped around a human woman's wrist and the other reaching for her face. Something in John went very quiet and very cold. "Let her go," he said. Threx turned his head, mandibles clicking in something between surprise and contempt. He looked John up and down, the soft human features, the unremarkable frame, the empty hands, and made the calculation every predator species made about humans in the first few decades of contact. "Harmless. Walk away, small one," Threx said. "This is not your business." "She's my business." John's voice didn't rise. If anything, it dropped lower. "Last chance. Let go of her wrist." Threx laughed, a wet, clicking sound, and made his second mistake. He didn't let go. Instead, he shoved Mia backward into the crates hard enough to knock the air from her lungs, and turned fully toward John with the loose, contemptuous ease of something that had never once lost a fight against a human. "You want to be hurt too? Skarn are apex predators. We have hunted since." He didn't finish the sentence. John crossed the distance between them in 2 strides. Faster than a creature that outweighed him by 80 kilograms expected a soft thing to move. He didn't throw a punch. He didn't need to. His hands closed around the plated ridge of Threx's shoulder joints. The same grip he'd used 100 times hauling shipping containers into place on cargo runs. The same grip that had built calluses into muscles most species never bothered to develop because they had machines to do the lifting. Threx's grin faltered. "That's not." The Skarn started, and then John lifted. 210 kilograms of armored predator came off the deck, plating like a sack of grain. Threx's legs kicked. His mandibles snapped uselessly at the air. His talons scrabbled for purchase on nothing at all. For one suspended second, the mercenary who had hunted for sport across 4 systems hung in the grip of a species his people had filed away, decades ago, as harmless. "Humans are weak," John said quietly, echoing the words Threx had said to Mia, and something in his tone made the words land like an accusation. "Everyone knows this." Then he threw him. Threx Khaldun traveled 4 meters through the recycled air of Bay 7 and slammed into the steel bulkhead with a sound like a dropped engine block. He crumpled to the deck in a heap of twitching plates and did not immediately get up. The bay was silent except for the hum of the station's life support and Mia's ragged breathing. "Are you hurt?" John was crouched beside her before Threx had even finished sliding down the wall, his hands hovering, not touching, just present, the way you'd hover near something fragile. Mia, look at me. Are you hurt? Her voice cracked. She swallowed and tried again. I'm okay. My wrist, that's all. I'm okay. John's jaw was tight as he checked it anyway, careful fingers finding the beginning of a bruise blooming under her skin. Something moved behind his eyes that wasn't quite calm, but he kept his voice steady for her sake. Okay, that's okay. We're going to get that looked at. Behind them, Threx groaned and began to stir, one clawed hand pressing against the dented bulkhead as he tried to push himself upright. John stood. Stay down, he said, and there was nothing average about his voice now. Nothing soft. Threx froze halfway up, mandibles clicking in something that had transformed, in the span of 10 seconds, from contempt into genuine confusion. Skarn predators were bred on a doctrine as old as their species. Strength dominates, weakness submits, and every encounter is a negotiation written in force. He had cataloged this human as weakness the moment he saw him. He was recalculating that now, and finding no comfortable answer. What are you? Threx rasped. John didn't answer right away. He glanced back at Mia, checking, always checking, that she was steady, before he turned back to the mercenary sprawled against the bulkhead. You've been out here, 30 years? John said. Skarn don't get out here much before that. So nobody's told you yet. Let me save you the trouble of learning it twice. He crouched down to Threx's eye level, unhurried now that the danger had passed, and there was something almost conversational in how he said it, the tone of a man explaining a rule to someone who genuinely never heard it before. We spent about 200,000 years as the weakest thing on our planet. No claws, no plates, no venom. Slower than almost everything trying to eat us, and there was a lot trying to eat us. He tilted his head slightly. So we didn't get strong the way you did. We got strong the way tools get strong. Every single day, for our whole miserable stretch on the food chain, doing things that should have broken us and doing them again the next day anyway. You call it weak because you don't see the plates or the venom. We call it training, and we've had 200,000 years of practice at it. He stood, dusting off his knees, and looked down at the mercenary with something that wasn't quite pity. You didn't lose because I'm special, Threx. I'm not. I'm actually kind of average, where I'm from. You lost because your species built you to be a predator against things weaker than you, and you picked the wrong soft thing to test that on. Station security arrived in a clatter of boots and raised weapons 30 seconds later, summoned by an automated violence alert Mia hadn't even known Base 7 had. They found a Skarn mercenary slumped against a dented bulkhead, one human woman cradling a bruised wrist, and one unarmed human man standing calmly between them, waiting to give his report. Later, after the statements, after the medical scan confirmed nothing worse than bruising, after Threx Kaldun had been remanded to Confederacy custody with a formal charge that would end his mercenary license permanently, Mia found John in the station's observation deck, staring out at the dying orange star. Thank you, she said, sitting beside him. You don't have to thank me for that. I know I don't have to. She wrapped both hands around a cup of station-brewed coffee that tasted like burnt cardboard and was, at that moment, the best thing she'd ever drunk. I'm doing it anyway. John was quiet for a moment. He really thought I couldn't do anything. Right up until I had him off the ground. Most of them do, Mia said. That's kind of the problem with predators, isn't it? They only respect a fight they think they can win. John almost smiled at that. Yeah, he said, watching the star burn low and orange through the viewport. That's the problem with predators. Somewhere in a holding cell 3 decks down, Threx Kaldun stared at his own claws and, for the first time in 30 years hunting among the stars, wondered exactly how much he, and his entire species, had gotten wrong about humanity.